Hi, thank you for watching Digging to China. I'm Zhang. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. Addiction to online gaming in Asia has become rampant. Based on New York Times report, in 2010, online games were South Korea's largest cultural export item, worth $1.5 billion. High-speed internet connections in over 90% of South Korean households and popular cyber cafes have fostered addiction for close to 1 million South Korean youth. Both Western and Asian media have reported extreme cases of internet addiction. Love Child is a 2014 film by Valerie Veitch and a joint Korean and US production team. The film documents the story of a couple that met online and raised a virtual baby together, but were later charged with the negligent homicide of their real-life 3-month-old daughter, who died of malnutrition. The South Korean government claims that counseling programs have lowered the number of teenage addicts. In China, attempts to curtail internet addiction have led to rehab camps or so-called internet addiction clinics or boot camps. Out of China's 750 million internet users, 1 in 5 are aged below 19, and China recognizes internet addiction as a clinical disorder. Internet addiction clinics first emerged in China 2 decades ago. In 2002, 4 minors burned down an internet cafe in Beijing after they were denied entry, killing 25 people. The incident shocked the nation and sparked a moral panic about the dangers of the internet. Teens who spent hours playing online games, previously viewed as harmless slackers, were increasingly portrayed as potentially dangerous. Amid this media furor, a self-proclaimed expert named Tao Hongkai captured public attention by claiming he'd developed a method for treating internet addiction. He opened the country's first internet addiction rehab center later that year, and it proved to be hugely popular. Parents began checking children into rehab centers in their thousands. By 2009, there were more than 300 internet addiction clinics operating across China. The internet boot camps have profited because of high demand from parents seeking treatment for their children. But teens have claimed that abuse is rampant in the camps. Electric shock therapy and a drug are some of the treatments administered. In 2009, state broadcaster CCTV produced a bombshell report detailing one center's use of electroshock therapy to treat internet addiction. Since 2009, China's Ministry of Health had banned electric shock therapy, but this method still continues to flourish. Attendees have reported being shocked more than 135 times in 100 days in some boot camps, while those who misbehave or attempt to kill themselves are subject to more electric shock therapy. In 2016, a 16-year-old teenager named Chen Xinran tied her mother to a chair and put her up for ransom in retaliation for being sent her to an abusive internet addiction boot camp in Shandong. Chen wrote of her experience in a blog post and told of how she was abducted and suffered various abuses under school officials, including being forced to eat in front of a latrine pit and regularly beaten. After her story went viral, other teenagers stepped forward to claim they had too were tased, deprived of the sleep, and threatened at the Shandong boot camps. Diagnosia is a recent and award-winning virtual reality film by Zhang, Mengtai, and Lemon Guo. The film offers a terrifying glimpse inside a Chinese internet addiction clinic.
September 1st. Dawn. Whistles enter my sleep. It's my parents. They walk towards me, smiling. They're getting me out. I jumped up in excitement, but could not move my arm. September 8th. I couldn't sleep last night. A new inmate came. We called him 大学生. A newbie, didn't know the rules. He fought, got beaten, and was thrown into the Malita therapy room until morning. At noon, he broke the light bulb and cut his one open. September 15th, therapist wanted me to monitor 大学生 for her. If I wanted to get out of here, it's crucial to gain the trust of therapists. So, should I help her?
The filmmakers have made it their mission to expose the brutality of these facilities where thousands of young Chinese have been incarcerated and subject to forced medication, military training, and in some cases electroshock therapy in the name of curing their internet addiction. Mengtai Zhang himself was thrown into one of these clinics at the age of 17, and the film is heavily based on his experience. In this VR experience, Zhang locked us into his own memories of a center for internet addicts, run by psychiatrists who are backed up in some centers by military personnel. This institution functions as a re-education camp. The user moves around the interactive animated VR environment through the gray corridors and classrooms, while Zhang recalls haunting memories of violence, peer pressure, and indoctrination. By making this film, I want to reconcile with my past trauma, Zhang said. I want to speak up for myself as I wasn't able to fight back at the time, and I want to question why we had to go through this. The facility Zhang was sent to was the Youth Psychological Growth Base located in suburban Beijing. The facility did not employ electroshock therapy, but Zhang and the other patients were forced to take psychiatric medication twice a day. The nurses would shine flashlights into their mouths to check they hadn't hidden the pills under their tongues, Zhang recalls. During military training, the instructors would physically beat Zhang whenever he showed disobedience. On several occasions, he was locked inside a dark room by himself for days. The clinic called this Morita therapy, a reference to a form of psychotherapy developed in Japan during the early 20th century, which focuses on forcing patients to be alone with their thoughts. The most frightening thing about the clinic wasn't even the violence, Zhang says. It was the lack of control, the knowledge that he was totally subject to the whims of the staff. I didn't know when I'd be able to come out, what would happen in the future, or why this illegal imprisonment was happening. And no one was stopping it, says Zhang. Zhang was released from the center in late 2007, and soon after, China appeared to turn against internet addiction clinics. In 2009, CCTV published its expose. Then, months later, news emerged that a 16-year-old boy had been beaten to death by staff at an internet addiction clinic. The story triggered outrage, and alarmist media stories about internet addiction became less common. Zhang says, from 2009, it wasn't just that I want to forget about the whole thing. The number of media reports related to internet addiction plummeted, recalls Zhang. I felt like everyone wanted to forget about this stain as soon as possible. Zhang managed to move on with his life, gaining degrees in fine arts and sound art from Goldsmiths University of London and Columbia University in New York. For 10 years, he barely thought about his experience in the clinic, until one day he saw a news story about the World Health Organization recognizing gaming disorder as a medical condition. What did he find? More to come in my next video. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly. Until then, be well.